This one's a real head scratcher. This Redditor shared this video of a USB cable with a life of its own. Let's take a look. Let's see it again, slower this time. The cord is still for about 20 seconds and then becomes active again. If you zoom in on the cable, it does look like there's something attached to it about 2 inches below the head. But you can't see the string, so I'm hesitant to say that's not just a reflection of light on the cord at certain angles. I can't offer a resounding verdict on this one. What do you think it is? Luna Meow has a natural ability to communicate with the paranormal that she intends to explore to the fullest on her ghost hunting channel by the same name.
Guys, to turn on the flashlight that's next to me. Please. Do you think you can do that? How many of you were married when you... Okay. I don't like that. That's scary.
At 17 seconds, she appears to feel a presence draw near, and when she looks over her shoulder a second time, the flashlight is on. It doesn't look like anyone is nearby, at least nobody who is alive. The object just turns on by itself like a ghost touches it.
Turn the flashlight on.
They aren't interested in answering any more questions and simply turn the flashlight off without further interaction. Maybe they just wanted to let Luna know that they were here, watching. During a different investigation, Luna and some friends try to summon a spirit, and it just might have worked.
Oh, look at it, look at it.
Thank you. You know other people are here, aren't you? Don't you?
Does it really make you happy?
But perhaps the creepiest video of all comes from the Omen House in Beverly Hills, California. This is where a nefarious group gained access to a famous celebrity's home, and she did not last against them for long. Their paranormal equipment detects the motion of a spirit nearby, though it could be detecting the movement of this ghost hunter picking up the K2 meter at 5 seconds. Still, if you look very closely, the K2 meter detects a spike of paranormal energy at the same time the motion sensors go off, and shortly thereafter this mysterious blue light sweeps across the room that they all swear was not a flashlight. I have my doubts about this, until one of the team bangs a shelf and jumps up and down to demonstrate that all of the items on this shelf are stable, but as soon as he walks away, this object falls over by itself, something which apparently happens all the time.
Want to show them one more time? A final goodbye before they all leave? Or are you just gonna keep doing this? They're gonna jump.
The same exact object falls over all by itself. On one hand, the same object moving twice could be a sign of a ghost manipulating objects at will, but on the other hand, maybe this toy is simply unbalanced and falls over on its own a lot. Still, the fact that it happens while he is walking away seems to suggest that this is the work of a ghost with selective intelligence who wants attention. Mega Chris 18 and his friends know about a creepy old courthouse somewhere in Corpus Christi, Texas. They sneak in through a hole in the fence and start exploring the outside perimeter for a way into the building. Last time they were able to get in through a broken window, but they're disappointed to discover it's been boarded up since. Mega Chris 18 walks up and curiously knocks on the wood and receives an unexpected response.
Hello? Hey. When I say hello, the light turned off and it turned back on.
The group quickly develops a method of communication with the possible spirit using the light on their camera.
Can you do that one more time? Can you do that one more time so all my friends can see that?
The ghost uses the camera light to respond to a series of true or false questions. They soon learn that they are talking to the spirit of a young female who is somehow trapped inside the courthouse. After a while, they feel its presence slip away and stop getting responses. I really wish I could have seen Chris's hands to see if he was messing with the light. This video could be real, but we'll never know for sure. Dennis and Tim of Nerve Paranormal return to the Atkinson Manor to see if there's anything they've missed their first time around. There certainly is something they've missed before, and it definitely does not miss them. They are first greeted by a stuffed animal that I don't think was there before. It looks much less dusty than the steps around it, and therefore was probably put there recently. Nerve Paranormal could have put that there themselves though, so even though it's creepy, it's also easily disproven. Less easy to disprove, however, is when they hear this commotion while holding a spirit box session. It sounds like something runs up the steps moments before the door opens, yet no one is there. When they return downstairs, they find this blue kid's chair, shown briefly at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, is now part of a neatly arranged circle at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Just as they are wondering how the chairs got this way, they get their answer. This still frame, taken in a flash of his camera at 17 minutes and 44 seconds, shows the chairs 1 second before they pull away. You can see no strings running on the floor whatsoever. I don't see how this is possible unless they put magnets on the bottom of these chairs and slid them across the ground from one floor below, which requires 4 different people and a lot of effort. Instead of running away to somewhere safe, they stand their ground, which seems to make the ghost of the manor grow even more displeased. Then again, this object just so happens to be within kicking distance of the cameraman, so maybe he did it himself and then acted surprised. When Tim and Dennis decide to leave a minute later, they hear 4 footsteps and the doors open. This could be a spirit or it could be their friends. I think it could be real considering they eventually chose to escape off the roof and risk falling to get out of there. A YouTuber named El Indocente is making a tutorial about how to repair a corroded window in his home. First, he puts special tape over it and hits it with some kind of industrial cleaning agent. Next, he removes the tape and applies more cleaner to get it sparkling like new. But here's a step he never expected to see. The ghostly image of his father unexplainably looking back at him. El Indocente swears that this is real and has no idea how his father's likeness is imprinted on the glass. I suspect that there is a way to transfer photographs onto glass that I'm not aware of. Let me know if this is some kind of special technique he's using, or if that's really a ghost in the window like he says. Does this internet cafe have some unwanted customers? Redditor Juice173 thinks it does. He explains that he works in pest control, and this internet cafe was one of his clients. After seeing this footage, the owner insisted that he still has rats. Here is the surveillance video. Here's a clip from another angle. It's strange to me that something falls off of the shelf or is pushed right before the entire thing breaks. I would say it's just a matter of shoddy workmanship rather than something paranormal if it wasn't for that. But this makes me think that there's something more complex going on here, and I see no rats. Doorbell camera captured an interesting visitor one night at around 10 p.m. TikToker LENTHIN shares this video. It appears that the woman just stands there for a moment, breathing loudly, and then leaves, carrying her bag of mysteries. It doesn't even seem like she rings the doorbell. Would this terrify you? It does certainly terrify me. I wouldn't open the door ever again. Fishing in Space is the name of a YouTuber who once ordered numerous mystery boxes on eBay. The first one contains a small pouch full of unholy sticks and dirt, meant to be used in a demon summoning ritual.
Just like stuff like that. A bag of dirt that put under your pillow and say some Latin words and you get a demon.
I personally have never heard of this before, and I would like to hear more about this ritual from anyone who has tried it. Anyway, Fishing in Space moves on to unbox a haunted doll named Marlene next, though he doesn't give any backstory as to why the doll is possessed. Instead, Fishing in Space ends the video and says that he will post an update at a later date. However, this was a long time ago and we haven't heard from him since. I think that he is probably fine, but at the same time, I do find it eerie that he uploads a video about a demon summoning ritual and a haunted doll, and then subsequently never updates his channel ever again. Ghost Hunter Emax has some of the creepiest videos in the small but growing Japanese ghost hunter community. Videos with scary moments like this one that will haunt you for a long time. He's exploring an abandoned hospital when he senses something paranormal is near, a ghost in the same hallway.
なんかいる感じするもんね。こんなね、したりしたんだけど。さあ行ってみたい。あ！これが今こっちに動いたんだよな。
It's just there 1 second at 10 minutes 16 seconds. And within 2 seconds, it's being pushed back 3 feet into the closet. Did he really see a wheelchair move by itself while exploring a haunted hospital? Or did someone pull it from off camera? The video looks convincing, but I guess we'll never know. Who's tapping at the window at 3 a.m.? This video by TikToker Diego Spikers will have you deadbolting your door. You can see a woman through the window aggressively knocking at the bathroom door of this apartment. But when the guy opens it to her, no one is there. Where did she go? Some in the comments say this could be After Effects editing. Others say he should have knocked back. I personally like that idea. Which side are you on here? A YouTuber named Phoebe Mayhew made a scary face swap video from 2016 that's still an unsolved mystery to this day. And I'm hoping this is the year we can find an answer. So Phoebe makes a joke about having no friends to face swap with, when this invisible presence takes her up on her generous offer to change faces.
Hello, anyone want?
The eerie apparition is apparently above her, and she switches places with something peering in from the highest point of the door. So the only thing in the corner that possibly looks like a face would be the overhead lighting. But when Phoebe tries to recreate the situation, nothing happens.
Wait, it's definitely not the light it was doing it to. Because the light's over there and it's not doing it now.
Like I said, I don't see anything else in that doorway that could have set off the face swap. Do you? It makes me wonder if something tall and creepy was watching her and then vanished. While inside this haunted house, these ghost hunters are lured into the forest. Published by Lomar Mendez in October of 2021. The pair consider whether or not something is in the house with them, and as they explore the house, they hear something.
That was probably creepy.
Their camera's light appears to be malfunctioning, and soon they become positive that someone else is here. As they wait in fear, they hear a strange noise from the next room, and then they see the figure. They take this as their cue to leave. While they do escape the house without incident, they're being followed, but the big reveal is yet to come. Well, this is a pretty messed up thing for a dad to do. These two should look on the bright side. This could have ended so much worse. Described by Redditor Yeezus_C as footage of something. I'm going to play you this video so you can see what that something is. Pulled from security footage, an office chair is captured spinning on its own, and toward the end of the clip, it makes a final turn. Those in the comments have several theories. Well, I think it could be any one of these theories. I wouldn't rule out a passed away office worker with an axe to grind. I can picture a horror movie about it already. History is bound to affect the aura of some places. Particularly history is chilling as Lemp Mansions. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Baked Potato, the Redditor writes, "This video was taken off my friend's old phone when she visited the Lemp Mansion years ago. Before we analyze the clip, you'll need to know a little background on Lemp Mansion. The historical house in St. Louis, Missouri, was the home of the Lemp family in the early 20th century. 3 of the Lemps would go on to take their own lives in the family home. The only surviving Lemp was Edwin, who lived until the age of 90. He did not live in the Lemp family home, however. He moved to his own estate later on. Needless to say, with all these horrific and sad occurrings in Lemp Mansion, some believe it's haunted by spirits. It's now a restaurant and inn that offers haunted and historical tours, and also hosts Halloween parties and dinner theater. Perhaps it was at one of these events that a Redditor's friend caught this frightening footage. As the friend wanders around the mansion in the short clip, you can see odd moving shapes throughout, but the scariest appears at the end. A dark figure lurks in the bright light of the window, materializing out of thin air. It then disappears when the camera pans back around again. According to the Redditor, his friend didn't see the figure at the time. Redditor Fluffy Socks writes, "If you slow it down and look frame by frame, you'll see he's sitting there looking out the window. Gives me a pretty weird feeling, TBH. Do you have that feeling too? I certainly do." When the past on are literally beneath your feet, you're bound to step in something. Published to YouTube by Exploring with Eric in May of 2020, Eric visits a graveyard at 3 in the morning in his new series, The Devil's Hour. My objective is to document all sorts of evidence that relates to the paranormal world, whether it be poltergeist activity, any shape or form of apparitions, etc., by using my basic ghost hunting equipment. In this series, you will see myself investigate alone. During the first episode, he gets more than he bargained for. While in the cemetery, Eric finds a mausoleum. After hearing a loud knock during a spirit box session, the glass door closes. He then says he heard someone's voice and he hopes there's no one here messing with him. Just as he decides no one's there after wandering around the premises, he hears footsteps.
I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly where I want to show you.
He runs up the stairs to the second floor to see who is there, but there's no one. He notices that the doors are open to the outside. As he shows his viewers a fountain in the middle of the mausoleum, he hears footsteps again. He returns to the inner mausoleum, where the doors are again closed. Finally, he decides to leave and it's standing outside, saying he'll return again at some point, but as he pans around, a large shadow figure moves behind a nearby tree.
It's too much for me right now to handle, and like...
What was that? Is that what's been watching him? It's probably time to say goodbye. YouTuber, this is Dan Bell, explored a creepy apocalyptic looking hospital in May of 2016. The hospital in question must have been a Christian hospital, as there is a cross on the front of the building. From the outside looking in, the place does live up to its title. The windows are darkened, and it's clearly empty and in disrepair. Upon entering, Dan finds a storage room filled with broken chairs. The room alongside it is covered in garbage and remnants of the past. Closer inspection of the garbage that lines the floor shows that this place was a dumping ground for needles, or perhaps it is still used as one. Hypodermic needles completely cover one section of the floor, an enormous stockpile of them. As they explore the place further, they run into that singular image of a single wheelchair in a dark hallway that we've seen so much on this list, and in another hallway a single stretcher. This time though, neither moves. Perhaps this hospital isn't haunted like the others, which is strange because it looks like a ghost prime haunting grounds. The exploration does turn up other interesting things as well, but it's mainly a series of long, dark, scary hallways and rooms strewn with filth, much like what you'd expect an apocalyptic hospital to look like. When the paranormal team Cazadores de Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approach the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Alguém ali, velho. Na hora que parecia que alguém caiu na árvore. Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Vai. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. A YouTube channel called The Paranormal Detectives investigates the Morton Corbet Castle in England. A man named Paul Holmyard cursed this property after his exile sometime during the late 1500s. And centuries later, his curse still apparently stains these walls. The paranormal detectives set up 2 haunted dolls of their own to act as spiritual conduits for anything nearby. Not only does one of their dolls, Elizabeth, fall over, but this strange black line begins leaking from its neck onto the wall behind. Fully stretched out at 1 minute and 53 seconds, it almost looks like some kind of tentacle or even a parasite. Is this special effects? Or could we be witnessing a spiritual entity caught on camera while leaving Elizabeth? Now you see it, now you don't. Published in December of 2017. This video begins with a man speaking Arabic. No translation or subtitles are included, so we can't tell you what he's talking about as he stands outside what appears to be a normal door with an elaborate gold door frame. Over a minute into the video, he opens the door to what appears to be a normal dining room. Speaking the whole while, he enters the room and shuts the door, giving a tour of the room which is empty. He tries opening another door on one side of the room, but it's locked tight, so he enters further in what appears to be a living room. There are toys inside, a car with a doll in it, but nothing appears to be out of the ordinary. That is, until he turns to film the other side of the room and pans back to the car. No more doll. He doesn't seem to panic, and it's hard to tell if he even noticed. He continues to wander around the room. While nothing more disturbing appears to happen in the duration of the video, the man must have experienced something frightening towards the end. As fear is heard in his voice, his camera drops and he rushes out of there. What was happening in this room? I don't know if I want to know. A YouTuber named Stromedy continues to catch bizarre encounters on his drone. This time he drives out 3 hours to a random field to see what's out there. He and his friend Ashton are expecting to find bears, but instead they chance upon a man walking all by himself, who immediately breaks into a run through the snow upon being spotted. They follow him for over a minute while he tries to hide. Then, in an unexpected twist, he blasts the drone out of the sky.
I can even hear it. How far away is that?
Yo, I think he hit it.
Yo, he just hit the drone.
bro.
Dude, what
It's black. It just went black.
Guys, the screen just went black.
The muzzle fire looks like it could be special effects, but let me know what you think. Stromedy believes that this man was trespassing and took out their drone to avoid getting followed and reported to police. If this is real, then they most likely will not be able to catch him because his face is fully covered and they never find his car or his hideout. A ghost hunter named Solo Ambush goes exploring an abandoned morgue in the woods full of creepy things. The place has been deserted for years, but the smell of bodies has buried itself into the morgue walls. This table surface must be where they were prepared for burial. On it, he finds a needle to sew whatever shut. He puts it in his pocket, which possibly upsets the spirits because that's when the paranormal activity begins. He puts an object on the table and invites any spirits nearby to make it move.
Ada lagi. Dia sudah mula bunyi.
A defiant spirit moves things behind him instead. When he goes to investigate the noise, he finds nothing, and then he gets an idea.
Okay, let's switch off the light.
A figure in red silently passes across the floor of the haunted, abandoned mortuary with its head down. He runs after it and finds only the stench of decay is left in its wake, nothing else.
Bau busuk lagi.
He says this ghost sighting could be a reflection of light, but he is standing in a dark hallway with the lights off, so I'm not sure I agree with that one. Like many of the previously haunted places he's gone exploring in the past, what he's caught on tape in this building is most likely paranormal and terrifying. And as he leaves, something slams the door closed behind him. The ghost hunter is no longer welcome to go exploring this haunted place. Not that he ever was to begin with. Grandma, is that you? Published to YouTube by Mordecai's Captured Moments in April of 2021. Mordecai writes, "One night years ago, the chair on my friend's porch was rocking on its own. The video shows an old wooden rocking chair standing outside a pair of wooden framed glass doors. The chair begins rocking in an unusual fashion, not like it's been disturbed by a breeze or knocked by something, but as though someone is sitting in it, rocking and halting according to whim. Apparently, this isn't the only scary incident that occurred in Mordecai's friend's house. She responds to a YouTuber that her house was so deeply scary that she never let anyone know how scared she really was. Thankfully, she moved 2,000 miles away from this haunted place. All she can hope for is whoever is rocking that chair didn't follow. You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies." Published by Adient in October of 2021. A man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Nang, sorry!
That's when he sees this.
Hey!
Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? A family is crossing the border from Texas into Mexico when this SUV gets on their tail and shines a light at them in a ploy to pull them over that they didn't fall for. The family knows this vehicle belongs to a group of outlaws who collect money from any American tourist unlucky enough to cross their path, so they speed back to the border with the SUV close behind. They make it back to safety, but somewhere along the way, they have this strange encounter that everyone was too distraught to notice at the time. Maybe the grainy dashcam video is to blame, but as one commenter points out, it almost looks like this dog literally teleports into the shot at 29 seconds. At 27 seconds, you can see both streets are empty, except for a man and his bike, and then 2 seconds later, this dog appears out of nowhere and doesn't come into focus until it's halfway across the street. I guess it could have emerged from the street corner, which was hidden by the truck in front, but however you want to look at it, you may never expect for a car chase in Mexico to end with a possibly teleporting dog. Sylvian Nicholas has a motion sensor camera that turned on momentarily to catch this strange airborne entity as indicated by the green box. Take a look again in slow motion and tell me if this was a spirit orb, a giant speck of dust, a bug, or something else altogether. A person checks their CCTV to catch whoever busted their side view mirror. It's on the sidewalk side and therefore absolutely couldn't have been a car. The video does not end at all as expected when a phantom force snatches the mirror and gives it a twist. Then again, maybe a manufacturer's bolt or something came loose here at 2 seconds. Point is, I've never seen a car mirror do something like this all by itself before. Have you? A family in the Philippines is holding a ceremony for their child when something amazing happens. Their baby begins to move. The parents pluck their child and wrap it in blankets. Just yesterday, medical examiners had told them that their child had passed from a severe fever. Now clearly still alive, though the parents are relieved, terror soon set in as they realized how close they came to burying their baby alive. Things can get out of hand. This video reveals when people and things have gone just a little too far. Sometimes those darndest things send chills down our spine. This video will make you question the afterlife. Tariq Elite writes, a woman goes to her mother's grave to visit. Her little girl seems to be waving and talking to someone and even kisses them.
What are you waving at, Leah?
Bye, kid. Bye-bye.
Tariq goes on to ask if it's true that they can see into spiritual realms. The video shows a sweet girl, likely not older than 2, standing near a headstone waving. She appears to be looking up into the nothingness but seeing something. She greets the invisible specter, standing on the top of the grave to get a better look. She even reaches with one pointed finger before dismounting from the grave. Some in the comments suggest that the young girl's frequency hasn't been fully compromised yet by the earth, while others say that our ancestors are always with us. Do you agree? Are young ones able to visually access a frequency that we're not capable of reaching? This video seems to be proof that there really is something just beyond the veil. Now you see it, now you don't. A pale, ghostly figure appears at the end of the darkened hallway. It seems to enter from the left. The dog clearly sees it and runs toward it. Then when the light flips on, the figure just disappears. The dog seems as surprised by this turn of events as we are. Watch it again. The figure is visibly there. There's no mistaking it. So where did it go? Although I'm not sure where the figure disappeared to, I did notice something else in the video. Watch the shadow on the floor after the light flickers on. Something clearly walks past in the other room. Is it the ghostly figure or some other monster? This YouTube clip serves as video evidence of just how daring some people can be, or brave, if you look at it the other way. The footage is likely recorded in Russia's Far East, where a large population of bears roam free. Bears that have been known to wander into residential areas. In the video, one of these bears has done just that. A big brown bear is seen pacing around an empty lot, while a Russian man just sits calmly on a bench, not making the faintest effort to move or protect himself. In fact, he seems completely unfazed by the wild animal just feet from him. Surprisingly, the wild bear seems more scared of the Russian than this man is of the bear. As the bear roams closer toward him, he suddenly darts away. Though the man never moves an inch, while most people would be shaking in their britches in an all-out panic when within sight of a bear, this Russian man doesn't flinch. Maybe we can learn something from him. If you should ever be unfortunate enough to encounter this wild animal, it's best not to panic. Just don't be as nonchalant as this guy, who is standing at the end of the hallway. Published by Find Ghost in December of 2021, this short clip captures a ghost girl on camera in a haunted home. As ghost hunters are searching around this room, the camera pans around. Look closely at the end of the hallway. A creepy figure can be seen standing there with long white hair and a darkened face. When the cameraman pans back a moment later, the figure is gone. Would you leave? The caption says. I'm already gone. A YouTuber named Nick Soup is barefoot water skiing when suddenly he finds one of the handles wrapped firmly around his throat. Look again in slow motion and you'll see exactly how this 1 in a million scenario unfolds. The handle drops into the water, shoots back into the air, and wraps perfectly around Nick's throat like a noose. Thinking fast, he rips the handle over his head while still hanging on. Had he let go and fallen into the water, he would have been dragged by the neck at high speeds. This one might be harder to hear, but it's worth it. While investigating, YouTubers Ghost Dimension heard something strange at Newtown Park Hospital in Liverpool, England. Listen closely.
I don't know, I can't understand it. It said something, but not like our language.
Oh my god, like tongue or something.
Yeah, that's poltergeist, that.
Is it?
Foreign tongue. And a growl.
First, they hear voices in a foreign tongue, and as they listen, they hear a snap. A little later, they hear more unexplained sounds.
Yeah. I heard that. Yes. I heard that.
I'm getting a bad feeling.
Oh, don't, please don't.
No, I am.
To me, it sounds like distant footsteps and voices. And then immediately after Neil asks if anyone is there, you can hear a subtle humming.
Is anyone there?
Should we go upstairs?
Do we go up or down? Or is that woman's downstairs? Up. Should we go? Yeah.
And as they're about to head downstairs, they hear an undeniable racket from the basement.
Got a feeling that there's more than one.
Should we go up?
When the sound gets louder, they hightail it upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah. Go. That's not good.
Should we go up then?
Yeah. Come on, go.
Neil, stay with me. Neil. Neil, there's something behind us.
There was definitely something in that haunted hospital with them. I'm not sure if it was paranormal or perhaps another group of investigators, but hearing it without seeing anything put me on edge. This video stands as a clear warning to always verify who is at your door before you answer it. This Ring video was originally posted to TikTok by Wynn's Home Awareness. The video shows a man wearing a hood approaching the door of this residence. It's nighttime. He rings the doorbell, and when the homeowner opens it, the man immediately enters without asking. It's clear he is a stranger. When the homeowner tells the man he needs to leave, the intruder starts stammering incomprehensibly.
Who are you? Aaron right now. How are you? You need to leave. How far? Out there. What's the reason here?
The homeowner has to physically grab the man's arm and shove him outside. As he slams the door shut, the man starts pounding on it.
What? What's the stairs here? Come on, where are you going? What's the stairs here? Goodbye.
Even though he's now locked out, the intruder stands on the front step looking in. He tries the handle several times, just waiting there. What are this man's intentions? We can only guess, but I'd wager they aren't good. The haunted Greystone Manor. YouTube team Paranormal of Watertown POW experienced some strong poltergeist activity. They asked the spirit to play a game.
Yeah, I'm recording.
Come on. Oh. You wanna play some pool?
And later, the REM pod goes off like mad.
Can you stop touching that for a minute?
Thank you.
It even seems to be listening to them. As they're using other devices, the spirit pushes a ball on the floor.
Oh, that just spiked again.
Oh,
That ball.
thank you.
This is just a taste of the activity the team captured at Greystone Manor. It certainly seems like a haunted location to me. I don't know about you, but I'm tuning in for more. A YouTuber named Erwin Saunders claims to be able to communicate with some mysterious forest creature who seems to come out after it rains, or so he says. He sits under a tree and talks for quite some time, and just when it seems like nothing mysterious or creepy is ever going to happen in these woods.
Oh, sorry about that. He was doing. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's. There.
Some sort of goblin-like humanoid briefly comes out and abruptly leaves, checking over their shoulder all the while. The video quality remains high resolution and doesn't change, so people are saying this creature sighting could be real.
Supposedly, a little girl saw 2 ghosts. Looks like a creepy little house. They say it's really haunted.
A team of ghost hunters investigate recent paranormal activity at the Craig house, where a ghost sighting has left a little girl really creeped out. Her mother suspects the house is haunted.
So what do you think it is? Do you think it's...
Probably ghost.
The Craig family was not surprised when their daughter had a ghost sighting, because they've all experienced paranormal activity too. Weird things like the dial on their radio moving on its own, unexplainable noises in the basement, and scary voices whispering hello. But this time, the paranormal activity has gone too far by scaring their innocent daughter, and so the ghost hunters are called to investigate. They set up paranormal equipment in the haunted basement to see what kind of supernatural evidence they can capture on video. When nothing is caught on tape, the ghost hunters begin to doubt anything paranormal is down here, and so they challenge the ghost to reveal itself on camera.
Make something move off these shelves. You little...
No objects fall off the shelf, but apparently 3 minutes later, a mysterious EVP is caught on camera when the ghost hunters are exploring the entrance to a room under the stairs. Keep keep in mind their paranormal equipment has been dormant for 25 minutes until they come across this hidden room, which appears to be empty, and when they open it, all of their equipment mysteriously turns off and needs to be restarted. So I think they've let out something paranormal. As ghost hunters, it is their job to replicate the results so as to provide the best paranormal evidence possible, which in this case means standing outside of the small space and taunting the ghost some more.
Bring it to me. I'm going inside this little room. Demonic, heaven or bring it to me. Let's see it. They said, Jordan.
A strong and steady EVP does not stop until they take the batteries out, which I think were probably being drained fast. Judging from the weird sounds it makes, the ghost hunting equipment is being pushed past its limits and struggles to keep up with the paranormal energy surrounding it. Later, their EVP session takes them inside the closet of the girl's basement playroom, where she had a ghost sighting. He calls the ghost a coward for not properly showing itself, and
coward is what you are.
if you look behind him, an object seemingly moves on its own, or maybe he hooks it with his finger. It's kind of hard to say.
Did you not see it move by itself?
Yeah, but it's gotta be better than that. I gotta see it move by itself.
You still don't believe?
Not really.
Either way, this is probably one of the few videos I've ever seen where the ghost hunters argue about whether this scary moment is paranormal or fake, so let's help them figure it out. I think it was probably real because earlier, he did at some point ask the ghost to move an object to prove it was real. According to a team of ghost hunters, this house in San Pedro, California has long been haunted by poltergeists who like to open cupboards, throw plates, change television channels, and linger in certain rooms until a mother and her 2 children felt uncomfortable enough to leave. A lot of events happened before the ghost hunters became involved and therefore were never recorded, but it wasn't uncommon for red liquid to drip from the walls of this haunted home for no explainable reason. Here is a quick clip of this happening in real time before the team's very eyes.
Everyone just left except us. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinets. Nobody believes us, but it's happening. There it is.
There it is, right there. It's dripping.
Eventually, the ghosts drive the mother and her children out of the home, and the ghost hunters volunteer to stay there and investigate for several months. One day, they hear 3 loud snapping noises coming from the attic and send a man named Barry to investigate. As he later recalls, something was up there waiting for them.
Are you okay, buddy? God, look at his neck. What's behind your neck?
I don't know what's on my neck.
Come on down. A piece of rope. Barry, get down.
Barry comes back down distraught and confused, now missing his glasses. Some kind of cord is wrapped around his neck, and he insists that something had tried to choke him upstairs in the attic. The investigation was called off not long after, out of a concern for the team's personal safety. Adam Grayson is making a YouTube video at the hospital after a reaction causes his entire hand to swell. His wedding ring presses into flesh of his finger hard enough to cut off the circulation. Now a surgeon has to cut through the thin band of metal with only a trained eye and a tiny circular saw. One slip will make the situation 10 times worse.
Ah, that's hot.
The friction from the saw creates such an intense heat that nurses must repeatedly squirt water on the ring to cool it off. They really do have to delicately cleave through every last millimeter of the ring to get it off. Here you can just see how close they have to get to Adam's finger before they are able to pry it off. Adam's finger is red and tender. When they are finally finished with the procedure, there is no doubt that in my mind that he would have eventually lost an index finger had he not gotten to the hospital in time. This haunting just got a whole lot creepier. Posted by Raymond Powell to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor notes that this is an update on the disturbing happenings in his home. What are these happenings? The video shows some sort of pipe or tube on the counter start to roll one way and then the other. Next, a glass of water is seen disturbed slightly before being pushed clean off the edge. And lastly, a nearby recliner's footstool extends on its own. Many in the comments are completely creeped out by this clip. Miss Miley Moo wrote, "At the end, I turned the phone away for the last 10 seconds because I didn't trust it. I definitely wouldn't trust this ghost either." For months now, a YouTuber named Bogue731 has been receiving unwanted attention from a man who rides the same train as him every day. According to Bogue731, this person would repeatedly attempt to touch and otherwise harass him while riding on the train. He has tried to tell him to stop in the past.
I don't want to be friends. There's nothing you can do to convince me. But why? Because you make me uncomfortable.
But this man will not take the hint. One day, Bogue731 turns around, drops the politeness, and makes himself abundantly clear.
Stop following me. Sit down and stop following me.
Eventually, a superintendent has to step in and take charge of the situation before it gets any worse.
Can you get him to stop following me, please?
Okay, somebody to get off the train and somebody to stay on. Why are you following him? I don't know.
She separates the two of them and leads Bogue to a different train cart so he can finish what's left of his ride in peace. Bogue is only there for a few seconds when he looks over and sees none other than his not-so-secret admirer staring him right in the face. Apparently, nothing he can say or do is going to convince this man to leave him alone anytime soon. Susan Payton 1 is enjoying some quality time with her family when she and her husband both notice something grab the attention of their infant toddler.
What am I doing?
The child's face changes from amusement to confusion as he apparently turns to watch something pass by. Then, moments later, an orb silently streaks overhead. Even stranger are the song lyrics playing in the background. Something appears to walk past the child and possibly exit the room just as the children's song announces, "Say bye-bye." This odd and mysterious sighting in the sky has been viewed online by hundreds of people who have been unable to provide a proper explanation. The strange object floats from behind a tree and travels very fast. The oddly long shape does not look like a drone sighting to me, and it doesn't have any lights or identifying features. It's too far away to tell what it is for sure, but at the same time, it's close enough to tell that it's beyond creepy. A YouTuber named Daniel finds a graveyard that is different than most others. It is in a bad state of disrepair, but beyond that, some of the graves are just plain missing.
Doesn't look like it's 6 feet deep either.
The graves could have simply been relocated, but if that were the case, then I think that the grave sites would have been filled back in. For some reason though, this graveyard has perfectly dug up graves with absolutely no evidence of a burial. There's no casket and no headstone. It's not like these plots were recently dug for a future burial either. Vegetation is slowly creeping back over them, and they are covered with a light bed of dry leaves. Whatever the explanation for the absence of these graves, one thing is for sure, clearly a lot of time has passed since they've been uncovered. This video is also posted on my Chills Narrator subreddit by a user named Bebors. Whenever they find themselves at this particular highway intersection, their Lexus starts beeping out of control.
Okay, this intersection, it always happens here.
These innovative car sensors are designed to alert the driver when someone is in front of the car. No one is anywhere near them, but here you see both of the yellow arrows are lit, meaning it detects someone straight ahead. Seconds later, you can see the right arrow is on, which means that someone is now moving to the right. I just wanted to stress that this never happens at any other intersections, only this one. And according to Bebors, this event has occurred 4 times in the past 2 years alone. With this evidence in mind, this intersection could definitely be the haunting ground of someone who didn't make it across the road in one piece. Another momentous visual history caught on live TV, the powerful image of the toppling of the Saddam statue in Firdos Square was broadcast all over the world, signaling what the Bush administration hoped would appear to be the end of what he started. Mission accomplished. Only their involvement went on until December 18th, 2011, so not quite accomplished at that point. The moment was one of the scariest and most powerful caught on live TV. Iraqi civilians, some of whom theorists believe were paid, and US troops came together to tackle the imperialistic statue, marking what was supposed to be a symbolic moment in the lives of many Iraqi citizens. On international TV, it looked to be a moment of spontaneity. As it turns out, it wasn't as it seemed. According to investigations on the matter, tight focus shots used by the media suggested that the square was packed, when it wasn't. Most in the crowd were also not Iraqi, but rather Marines and journalists. Moreover, the flag and sledgehammer were supplied by the US. The act was not as spontaneous as it was reported. The footage suggested that all of Baghdad was enthusiastic of the toppling of Saddam, but this suggestion was inaccurate. According to Peter Mass, a journalist who was at Firdos Square on the day, they were ready to latch onto a symbol of what they believed would be a joyous finale. It was an unfortunate fusion, a preconception of what would happen, of what victory would look like, connected at Firdos Square with an aesthetically perfect representation of that preconception. Despite the illusionary nature of this event, this scary and iconoclastic visual is one of the most impactful caught on live TV. Who is Standing in the Shadows? Published in December of 2021, the Cornish Ghost Whispers Paranormal UK team managed to capture a full-body apparition of what appears to be a man. The footage was taken at South Wheel Francis Tin Mine. In the darkness between two large pillars, a dark figure manifests before their very eyes. The woman says hello to the apparition several times, but receives no answer.
Keep sharing, guys. Look at this. Hello? Hello?
She points out on camera where the figure appears. Do you see the Tin Mine Man? Or is it just a trick of the light? A Canadian YouTube channel called The Soul Catcher suspects that this clown doll from Ontario feeds off the energy of the living. So they perform this experiment to see what paranormal activity they can catch on camera. Watch this and tell me if you think it's real or fake. The clown's arm moves by itself as soon as the clock strikes 3 a.m. I suppose it wouldn't be too hard to set a clock to 2:59. Wait a minute, and then move the clown's arm with some fishing wire. So while this doesn't completely prove the doll is possessed, it's definitely strange. In this second experiment, the YouTuber removes the haunted clown doll's hat and places it on his knee. After 20 minutes, this happens. It looks like the clown is reaching for his hat. However, his arms sound heavy enough that it could have been positioned in such a way to fall over time. The YouTuber wants to know why the other arm didn't fall, and to answer his question, I think it's been positioned so that the hand is more in the middle. So while these two experiments are not conclusive, that he may have had a haunted doll on his hands, and I encourage you to check out the rest of his experiments on his channel. What do you expect to encounter inside a morgue but the Passed Away? Published by Kay in September of 2016, this exploration of a haunted abandoned morgue turns cold. Kay and crew arrive at the morgue at night, wandering around it and find a way in. They enter through a piece of metal exterior that has been ripped off. While exploring, they come across the beds where the people are examined.
Oh my god, that's the deathbeds. Wait, mate. That's fucking the deathbeds.
They also spot a creepy message on the wall that reads, "You're not supposed to be here. We will get you." In another room, dripping in red liquid, is the word beware.
What does it say?
Beware. What the is this? What?
Beware of what? Let's see. Down a hallway, they find a mattress on the floor. Apparently, someone is calling this mortuary home.
Is that a microwave here?
They then come across what might be the crematorium, or maybe just where the passed on are kept waiting.
Oh my god, mate, what are these doors? What is kept in there?
At one point, when they've just entered another room, one of the crew turns quickly around and pushes his friends back the other way. That's when they hurry out of the morgue. Kay explains that what he saw in the last room was the shadow of a man on the floor. When he entered, the man got up and glass started cracking. Was it the man whose bed they saw in the hallway? Or was this a ghost that was about to cause true havoc? A woman was caught disappearing on multiple CCTV cameras at the same time. The incident made the news, and basically nobody is certain what happened. Take a look at these two completely different angles. I can understand a camera malfunction happening once, but the chances of it happening to two separate cameras at the same time is very slim. I don't understand how this could happen, and I'm eager to read your opinions. Do you think that this woman has truly disappeared? Things went wrong for the Ouija brothers even before they hit record in the butcher's house. They hear voices outside approaching the abandoned home.
That's out that way now.
After the voices recede, they continue on through the house, but again they hear voices, this time screaming.
What they doing?
It sounds to me like she was screaming for help, and then...
You're just gonna have to go over.
After a while, things settle down, but they can still hear people there. At first, I wasn't sure if someone was in trouble or if these were kids trying to play a joke on them, but later on in the video, they confront the kids. Although they had to abandon the investigation, at least this didn't turn out as terrifying as it seemed. This extreme close-up of the moon captures an unknown object floating at what appears to be mere meters over the celestial body. Alexi_N shares this mysterious footage with the YouTube community. Can you guess what it is? In fact, it looks like something drifts down toward the moon from the floating object. Folks in the comments have some wild theories. Are extraterrestrials refueling on the moon, as some suggest? It's possible, but I think it could also be the International Space Station. Although the ISS is only 250 miles from the Earth, while the moon is 230,000 miles. In photographs, the ISS often looks much closer to the moon than it actually is. But even if it is the ISS, that doesn't really explain the object that appears to be traveling toward the moon from it. Additionally, the uploader has CGI videos on their channel. This one isn't marked as such, but there is still the possibility this is special effects. Share what you think in the comments. I'm torn on this one. Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit by I'm a Scared Child. This is how baby bed bugs react to human body heat. An old wooden chair is sitting in the middle of the room. This person gets down beside it and places their finger near a crack in the wood. Immediately, dozens of bed bugs stick their little heads out of the crack. Attracted to the heat coming from this human finger. The sight of this is honestly horrific. Many in the comments share their own horror stories about dealing with these vile insects. Some advise using diatomaceous earth on them, or even baking soda. But Redditor B-Cross sums our collective horror up, writing, "It's hard to put into word how evil these things are." I absolutely agree with that sentiment. This reportedly leaked video appears to be taken in a desert somewhere on the outskirts of civilization. Two scientists in full biohazard gear examine a colossal footprint that's been left behind by what appears to be some type of giant creature. I think this video is likely not real because there appears to only be one footprint and no others nearby. If there was a series of footprints stretching beyond the horizon, I would be more inclined to believe it's real. Otherwise, they could have easily dug a hole in the shape of a monstrous footprint. You might think you've got nerves of steel. This video was posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Peconic. In the video, the likely US-based officer pulls over a driver at night, approaches the driver's side door with a flashlight to question him, but then never gets the chance. The dashcam footage shows what happens inside. A bright light bursts from the sky, causing the patrolman to stagger a little bit before he vanishes, leaving his steaming clothes behind in a pile beside the vehicle. The car then speeds off, either out of fear for what just happened or to flee the scene. Having been an active participant in the officer's vaporization, we're left to wonder which it is. The clip first appeared on the YouTube channel from Tim Beckers, who said, "I downloaded the video and shared it with a couple of my friends in the community, and they all told me the same. This footage looks real and it could change everything we know. What do you think? Could this be real or a clever fake?" This family is getting no sleep. TikToker Paranormal Replay shares this scary video whose original source is YouTuber Ama Media Channel. A mother and her children are sleeping on the floor when this happens. The lady moves the toy as though she's used to these types of strange occurrences, but not long after, it starts to move again. And then an object is flung from the sink. That one finally scares her awake, but as she's just settling back in, she hears this. What sounds like a hairdryer wakes her up again, but the next disturbance wakes them all. Did you see it? At the end, peering around the corner. Is the ring girl behind it all? Whatever it is, I won't be going back to sleep tonight. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Well, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper. But since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are two glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. Do you believe in the paranormal? Are you paranoid someone's watching? Then the paranormal paranoids are here to guide you. Introducing your guides, Peter, Laura, David, and Riley. These videos were posted by the Twitter account Just the Paranoid. The first video is set in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. The crew enters a wooded area, and Riley explains why they're here. She says that to the locals, these woods are a setting for a sinister story.
To most people, this forest is the same as any, but to the people of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, who remember what occurred in 1994, these woods hold a sinister story.
In 1994, a young married couple crossed paths with a lifeless body along the path. Mary Talbert had sadly taken her own life, being that she did so on a very public path. The takeaway is that Mary wanted to be found. The group paused near the tree where it happened.
This is where it happened. It was almost as if she wanted to be found, wanted to be seen.
They pose for pictures and leave. While watching the footage back, they discovered a few things they hadn't noticed in person. Upon first entering the woods, a disembodied face appears in the trees.
I don't think it's there, Peter. Yeah.
Later, as they are leaving, the camera catches someone standing behind a tree, perhaps watching them, but the creepiest image comes as they're posing for pictures near Mary's tree. Lurking in the distance is a figure that looks as though it's wearing a cloak with something draped over its face.
Over here.
Okay.
All right, what are we doing?
Smiling, right?
Smile? Yeah. Okay.
Are you paranoid yet? If not, take a journey through Dark County Correctional Facility with the Paranormal Paranoid crew in their second video.
It all happened here, inside of these walls.
While they are wandering through, Peter is observing letters written on a window when they hear something in the next room.
What is that?
But they could find nothing there. They continue on, heading upstairs, where they discover a bunch of books open on a counter. They wander through the area where prisoners were kept in solitary confinement.
And the inmates that were brought here in the 1930s, they were maximum security.
Then up a narrow staircase and back to more prison cells.
Did you do that?
Wait, did you do that?
I didn't touch anything.
Riley is leading the way when suddenly she stops and her face is full of fear. She said she suddenly felt cold, and you can literally see her breath on video.
Oh, you feel what?
Cold. Holy shit. Riley, what? What?
According to the crew, the camera cut out and didn't record anything for a couple minutes. When it returns, they cast a light down one hall, which shows just how far and deep this well goes.
Look at this.
How far back does that go?
I have no idea.
That's pretty cool, yeah, sorry. So, get this shot.
And just how many prisoner stories it holds. One last tour by the Paranormal Paranoids see the crew at Lincoln Elementary, whose haunted halls have stories to tell.
So we made it. Lincoln Elementary. This school has an incredible haunted history, dating all the way back to 1976.
One morning in 1976, staff showed up to a filthy school. Although they called the janitor, there was no answer. Upon entering the janitor's closet to obtain cleaning supplies, they discovered the janitor passed away in horrific fashion. According to Riley, every bone in the janitor's body was broken, and his mop was shoved down his throat with just the strings hanging out. Ever since, the place has cycled through janitors, with no one staying long, as mysterious things kept happening. Rooms that had already been mysteriously cleaned, a solidly locked janitor's closet.
Is the legend true? David, what do you think?
I don't know.
They enter the school and for some reason head exactly where you wouldn't want to go, into the basement. That's when this happens. Though the bang terrifies them, they continue on, heading into what appears to be the boiler room. Something is clanging around. And then there's another big bang. As they panic, what they see next freaks them out even more. A quiet whistle alerts them to a figure with a white face and glowing eyes standing in a doorway.
Chill. Where did that come from? I don't know.
He shuts the door as they take off in fear up the stairs. Are the paranormal paranoids onto something? Whether or not they attract the paranormal, their paranoia seems more than justified. A YouTuber named ShayXL and her friend, Brandy Lynn, are trying on various outfits and walking around the mall when they apparently attract a follower. This is the first time they notice him, and they sound more annoyed than scared.
Why does this guy keep following us? Like, literally, he keeps following us.
I'm in the mirror.
Compare this to the fourth time they see him, and you can tell they really are in fear. No one should have to go through this, and I feel really bad for them.
We just saw him again, so that's the third time that we saw him. Oh my god, he's following us, he's following us.
The way he keeps glancing at them, while trying not to be obvious, makes me wonder how much practice he was doing this before. He obviously cannot control himself and keeps needing to take another look. He refuses to give up his pursuit and continues pretending to look at clothes. I guess it's possible, but somehow I seriously doubt he has more interest in these bright red dresses than he does in them. All of this might have been a coincidence, if not for this part, where he walks directly towards them at the end. In my opinion, he only stops and turns when he realizes they have his face on video.
Look, he's right there. He's literally following us.
Still, even knowing that he is caught on camera, he still passes them once more, and this time turns his head to stare. Is this all a big misunderstanding? Or is he getting one final look in the most creepy way possible? A YouTuber named Izzy-Centric is testing out his ghost hunting equipment on a creepy doll that's been possessed by a ghost for over 20 years. He sets the cursed object up in its miniature school desk, hoping to catch the doll moving on camera if possible, and he passes a ghost meter over it that is designed to catch the energy levels of any paranormal entities within. Sure enough, his paranormal equipment detects the presence of some creepy stuff lurking within the doll's demonic plastic shell.
Is this you here? What the? Are you kidding me?
Not only does the ghost meter register a positive response, it detects so much paranormal energy in the air that it crackles with an abundance of electricity. His wife joins him in the investigation, and she's not surprised by the results. It was her doll as a child, and it always did creep her out. Now it's her turn to ask questions.
Are you still here? It's not doing it anymore.
She gets no response from the nightmarish doll, at least not until she takes it upon herself to give it an insult.
Oh, little wuss.
Say what?
Said little wuss. Ooh, didn't like that, did you?
The ghost meter lights up angrily at this provocation, which signals to me that this is more than just a coincidence, and almost undoubtedly a doll possessed by scary things you wouldn't want in your home. If this video is paranormal, then hopefully it stays bound to this object and finds no way to get loose. Sepp Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh wow. There it is.
There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
And Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents.
Wow.
So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.